Okay, guys, I get it. We could talk about my top 10 Elder Dragons. Now, in the previous video, I asked you guys, what would you rather see, my top 10 subspecies or my top 10 Elder Dragons? And it was quite obvious that you guys wanted to hear my opinion on Elder Dragons. So, that's what today's video is going to be about. Now, before we get into this video, I thought I should let you guys know I have two different top 10s that have to do with monsters from the Monster Hunter series. I made my top 10 favorite and my top 10 least favorite monsters from the Monster Hunter series. You can watch those videos if you want, but you don't need to watch them in order to enjoy this one. Now there's one major difference between this video and my other videos where I talked about monsters from the Monster Hunter series. That is that I'm adding variants. My reason for doing this is because there's already a limited amount of Elder Dragons, so if you take out the subspecies from this video, there's not going to be that many Elder Dragons I can talk about. Plus, if I was to add Elder Dragons to my top 10 subspecies video whenever that comes out, then it would just be full of Elder Dragons. And I don't want to do that to you guys, because I want to talk about some of the underappreciated monsters. One last thing I gotta say before we get into this video. I had a lot of comments saying, you need to play Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. And guess what? I'm currently playing through the game right now. So once I beat the game, I'll make a video about it, talking about my opinions on it and if I think it's harder than 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, and Generations. The reason why I bring this up is because I haven't played far enough in the game to fight some of the exclusive Elder Dragons that come from Freedom Unite. And once I do, maybe I'll make an update to this video where I talk about some more Elder Dragons from that game. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's start hunting. Elder Dragons have some of the most interesting backstories and concepts. One Elder Dragon in particular that interests me is from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I remember getting to the point in the story where Magala was attacking Valharber's ship, and I had to drive it away. After scaring it off, it returned to attack more hunters from Valharber. At this point, I was hyped to fight the monster that the game had been hyping up since the start. The fight was everything I thought it would be and more. Once I beat the Magala, I thought I was done with it, but I had no idea what was coming. I didn't realize that the Magala was the baby version of a much more powerful Shagaru Magala. Holy this is an amazing fight. Now I know the fight with Shagaru and Gore is pretty much the same, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still really fun. Like Magala, Shagaru Magala has the Frenzy Virus, which makes the fight either go in your favor or make the fight go south really fast. Shagaru is the only Elder Dragon that's able to use and have the Frenzy Virus, so giving an Elder Dragon that can already hit you pretty hard the Frenzy Virus can be deadly, and it can be very difficult for people who are new to the series to fight this Elder Dragon. I personally don't have trouble with the Shagaru Magala because I'm pretty much used to its attack pattern. I will almost always get hit by its frenzy projectiles because unlike Magala, Shagaru Magala's frenzy orbs will bounce towards you and can have a curve to them. Another thing that I love about Shagaru Magala is that it has some great weapons. I always try to make Magala's weapons, just so I can make Shagaru's weapons. They have more attack power and better affinity than Magala's weapons. And plus, I think they look way cooler. I really like the dark and light contrast that Gore and Shagaru have. That's a really nice touch to Shagaru. Oh, and you can't forget about Shagaru and Gore's variant, the chaotic Magala, which is half Gore and half Shagaru. This is one of the most creative concepts that I've ever seen for a subspecies. Even though Shagaru might look tough, its fight is not too hard because of its horrible weakness of dragon. If you're with a team of 4 and have really powerful dragon weapons, then you can take down Shagaru very quickly. And compared to other Elder Dragons, Shagaru is not as difficult. If Shagaru was a little harder and wasn't as weak to dragon, then it probably would have gotten a higher spot on my list. This Elder Dragon brought some good twists with its fight. I was not expecting Monster Hunter Generations to even have an Elder Dragon. When I got to the end of low rank, I was greeted with a quest to repel an Elder Dragon. I was a little surprised. I bet it's pretty obvious which Elder Dragon I'm talking about, considering that Monster Hunter Generations only added one new Elder Dragon. I'm referring to Nakarkos. This fight actually shocked me when I got the chance to see its true form in high rank. In low rank you have to repel it and you don't get to fight it for too long. I thought that the first fight was kind of boring and simplistic, but I changed my mind as soon as I got to the second fight. In order to break your cap in Monster Hunter Generations, you have to kill Nakarkos instead of trying to repel it. The fight was the same for a while until you do enough damage to it. When you do this, it shows its true form to you. Nakarkos is a Kraken. A Kraken. This is such a great idea. I don't know why Monster Hunter didn't do this sooner. The closest thing they did to a Kraken was... How do I say this name? Yama Sakami, I think. But it resembles more of an octopus than a Kraken. Nakarkos has a lot of unique mechanics that are new to Monster Hunter Generations. It has this blue mucus that if you get hit with it and roll, you'll be boned. No, that's the actual name of the status effect. That wasn't me just trying to be funny. Anyway, all you have to do to get rid of this is to roll in water or to use a cleanser. And you get to climb and mine on its back like you do with Jin Moran and Duran Moran. It has a bunch of powerful attacks like a huge Hyper Beam attack, and its tentacles can use other elements such as fire, blast, thunder, dragon, and paralysis. If you manage to survive the fight, which is pretty easy to do, then you can make 2 different types of weapons and armors from it. The first type of weapons, the skeletal weapons, are really strong and have more elemental power, but they have horrible sharpness and affinity. The other type of weapon, the astral weapons, have lower power and element, but have better sharpness and affinity. The skeletal armor set has the ability Furor, Crisis, and Negate Rex Speed. And the astral set has the ability Chance, Insight, and Negative Whim. Overall, the Nakarkos fight is pretty amazing once you get to the second phase, but it takes a good amount of time to get to this point in the fight. Even though the second phase is really great, it doesn't change the fact that it's slow, and his attacks are pretty easy to avoid. However, don't take this Elder Dragon too lightly, because it can still surprisingly hit hard. When I first started my Monster Hunter adventure, I had no idea that Elder Dragons even existed. I just remember seeing this huge monster swimming through the sand at the very start of 4 Ultimate. In my head, I was wondering, will I ever eventually get to fight this? Well, I was very surprised to find out that I would get to fight it. Anyone who has played Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate knows what Elder Dragon I'm talking about. That's right, I'm talking about Duran Moran. Oh my goodness. This Elder Dragon is huge, and its fight is even bigger. The fight with Doran Moran has two phases to it. In the first phase, you'll be on the ship for the most part, firing cannons and ballistas at it. The ship also has a Dragonator and a Hunter's Gong on it, which will help weaken Doran Moran. I would recommend trying to hit its horn and face and not break its arms until the second phase of the fight. I'll explain this later. A good way to tell that you're getting closer to killing Doran Moran is that it will switch sides after taking enough damage. Also, during the fight, it will let you board on its back. Once you get to the back, you can do two things. You can either mine for materials on it, or you can try to break the weak spot. Once you do enough damage to it, it will move to the second phase of the fight. During this phase of the fight, it will be on the ground walking towards the ship. Remember how I said to not break its arms until the second phase? Well, the reason for this is because once you break one of its arms, it will fall over and you can board its back. This is very important because you can do more damage to it this way. Okay, so now that I've gotten how it fights out of the way, I can talk about why I like this fight so much. The fight can be pretty intense and creative, but it's pretty easy because of how slow it moves in the second phase, and how easy its attacks are to avoid in the first phase. This doesn't change the fact that this fight was one that I was really hyped about. I remember thinking how badly I wanted to fight Doran Moran, and wondering how the fight would play out. It surpassed my expectations and became one of my most memorable fights in Monster Hunter. The first time I fought it, I realized that I actually understood Monster Hunter a little better, and was having fun with the series. Before I move to the next spot, I should point out the elephant in the room. Where's Jin Moran? Well, the sad truth is, I've never fought it before. I've always wanted to, but I've never felt like trying to unlock the quest. I don't know, it's just not my main concern right now. And plus, Doran Moran is an Elder Dragon that gave me the motivation to keep playing Monster Hunter. This next choice was hard to make, because each one of these three Elder Dragons have an enjoyable fight and great designs. The three Elder Dragons that I'm talking about, of course, are the ones that counter each other, being CHAMELEOS, Kusladora, and Teostra. I love all three of these Elder Dragons to death, and want to put them all on this list. But I decided that I'm only going to be adding one of them, because I don't want to spend an extra 10 or 15 minutes talking about each one of them. It was a hard choice to make, but I would have to say that CHAMELEOS is my favorite out of the three. Chameleons are one of my favorite animals of all time, so when I heard that there was going to be a chameleon monster in Monster Hunter, I knew I had to fight it. The fight with CHAMELEOS is pretty odd because of the way it acts and moves. The CHAMELEOS has a very jittery movement pattern. This can best be seen when you're mounting it, if you're fighting it in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate and Generations, that is. Not only does it have this jittery movement pattern, but it also uses G-Rank Poison if you're fighting it in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. So with this combination of poison and a fast moving pattern, this fight is pretty fun and keeps you entertained. Oh, and I haven't even gotten to the coolest part about CHAMELEOS. It can turn invisible. Now you would think that this is super cheap, but it's actually done in a way that isn't. It'll spray fog out of its mouth, and then it will turn invisible for short periods of time to try to get a sneak attack on you, but it doesn't go completely invisible. you can still see the outline of it as it moves. One thing that really annoys me about CHAMELEOS is the fact that it can steal random healing items from you with its tongue. I've gotten countless amounts of potions, antidotes, and life powder stolen from me while fighting CHAMELEOS. Most of the time it's my fault for getting hit with its tongue, but sometimes I'll get hit while I'm on the ground or trying to heal, which is pretty annoying. The fight can be tricky, but it's not too bad. I have fought this Elder Dragon quite a bit though, so I've gotten used to its attack pattern. Oh, and I almost forgot to talk about CHAMELEOS' armor and weapons. It has some fantastic poison weapons that have a good amount of power behind them, and its armor set is one of the best in 4 Ultimate. It has earplugs, wind resistance, status, and negative heat resistance. You can gem in high-grade earplugs and or handicraft if you have the right talisman in your inventory. So what I'm getting at is that CHAMELEOS is a really good armor set to have, especially in 4 Ultimate. I actually used it in most of my footage from 4 Ultimate. What is the deal with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate's Elder Dragons? Why are they all so f***ing amazing? This is another Elder Dragon that, surprise surprise, comes from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate that I'm in love with. Now this Elder Dragon could have made it on the list purely because of its design, but fortunately for this Elder Dragon, it has a really fun and challenging fight. Now this was an Elder Dragon that I heard about throughout my playthrough of G-Rank. I didn't know anything about it besides its name, and that you didn't fight it until G3. It took me a while to work my way through G-Rank, but I finally got to G3. However, when I got there, I didn't see its name on any of the quests. I figured out that it was an urgent quest that you have to do by beating all the key quests. So once I beat all the key quests, I finally saw that quest I had waited so long to do. I got the fight, GOGMAZIO. So where do I even start? I guess a good place to start is with its fight. In the fight, GOGMAZIO will use tar, oil, and fire-based attacks. It will drop tar puddles near its body. If you walk into these puddles, then you'll get trapped in a tar ball. This is a status that is unique to GOGMAZIO and it's called tarred. In this state, you're not able to move away from the puddle of tar that you're in, so you're wide open to get hit by GOGMAZIO. One of its most annoying attacks has to be its tail swipe. If you get hit by this tail swipe, you'll get Fire Blight. I would recommend cutting off the tail as soon as possible, or else you're gonna have to deal with that annoying tail swipe throughout the whole fight. And its signature attack is that it'll shoot an oil beam at the ground. The oil will get hot and then explode. I really like the way this attack looks, but I don't like when the attack hits me. It's pretty easy to avoid for the most part, but if you manage to get caught in it, then you'll get hit really hard and get Fire Blight. That is if you survive. I really like GOGMAZIO because of how creative its concept is and how the fight's very fun and intense. One of the coolest things about this fight is mounting it. It is so satisfying to knock GOGMAZIO on the ground because of how dramatic its fall is. Unfortunately for me, while I was getting footage with GOGMAZIO, my friends had Mount God, so I wasn't able to mount it one time, and they brought insect glaives, so I didn't get any footage of me mounting it. I apologize. I also really love its design. It looks similar to a Magala, and it has oil and tar dripping off its body. If that's not an intimidating monster, then I don't know what is. One thing that can be very annoying about GOGMAZIO is that the fight can go on for a while. This is not a bad thing, but it can be annoying if you're trying to grind to make its weapons and or armor. Now I actually made its hammer, which was a bad idea on my part because it's not that good, and it took a long time to make, but it does look really cool.
and its tail swipe can be pretty annoying because of how long the range is on it, and how much it uses that attack. This doesn't change the fact that GOGMAZIO is still a really fun fight that puts your skills to the test. I'm a little surprised that I have not had an Elder Dragon from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on my list yet. Well, I guess this Elder Dragon could be a great first one to talk about. There has been some problems that have been going on in Moga Village, and it's up to you to solve these problems. During the game, you were told that a monster called the Lagiacrus has been causing earthquakes that have been damaging the town. You go and kill the Lagiacrus, but there's still earthquakes. Finally, it was discovered that the earthquakes were really caused by an Elder Dragon named CEADEUS. Wait. That's the wrong Elder Dragon. What, did you think I was talking about regular old CEADEUS? No, I don't want to talk about that small baby form. I want to talk about its adult version, GOLDBEARD CEADEUS. The GOLDBEARD CEADEUS is better than the CEADEUS in every way. In the CEADEUS fight, you have to wail on it as it moves from area to area, as it tries to get to Area 3 on the map where the actual fight takes place. While you're doing this, you can't even tell that you're doing any damage to it or not. Well, the GOLDBEARD CEADEUS gets rid of all of that. You can start fighting it as soon as the mission starts. And when you die, you don't have to swim all the way to Area 3 like you do with the regular CEADEUS fight. As I've stated before, I actually really love the underwater mechanic, so an Elder Dragon that is entirely underwater is going to be a fun fight for me. A fun fact about GOLDBEARD CEADEUS is that it's one of the only underwater Elder Dragons, the other ones being the regular CEADEUS and Dire Miralis. In this fight, you can approach two different ways of trying to kill it. One way is to attack it directly by swimming next to it and wailing on its horns and beard. The other method is to use ballista weapons that are around the arena. Also, there's a Dragonator that you can use on it if you're running out of time and need some quick heavy damage on it. While I was trying to become G rank in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, we were trying to lure it to the Dragonator, but this one player kept attacking it while it was in the corner and we were all by the Dragonator. This can be very annoying if you have a teammate that refuses to cooperate. I'm bringing this up because it's very important for this fight in particular. If you're doing this fight with a team, then you want to make sure that you have a plan. You don't want to just do what this guy did because it makes everyone pissed off, and if there's someone trying to get a certain piece from it and someone doesn't help to get that piece, then it can be very frustrating as well. Speaking of pieces that you can get from GOLDBEARD CEADEUS, it actually has surprisingly great armor. If you're just starting G rank in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, like I am, then I would recommend that you make this armor set as soon as possible. It has the ability High Grade Earplugs, Sharpness +1, Water Attack +1, and Blunt Edge. You can easily gym out the Blunt Edge, which will make this armor set even better than it already is. I'm still working on making this armor set, but I hope I'll be able to use it for future Monster Hunter videos. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned the music from this fight. Oh my goodness, the music from this fight is one of the best themes that I've ever heard in Monster Hunter. Heck, this is one of the best things I've ever heard in all of gaming. Even when I'm getting extremely mad at other players or at GOLDBEARD CEADEUS, I'll listen to its great theme and get motivated to keep the fight going. Although I'm making the GOLDBEARD CEADEUS sound like one of my favorite fights of all time, there is one thing about it that I don't like that could ruin the fight. As I mentioned earlier, when you're fighting the regular CEADEUS, you can be wailing on it for 20 minutes and not know how close it is to dying. Well, GOLDBEARD CEADEUS has the same issue. The only noticeable signs that it's getting closer to death is if you break its horns off and or break its beard. This is why I didn't put it higher on my list. Overall, the fight with GOLDBEARD CEADEUS uses the underwater mechanic beautifully. It has one of my favorite themes from the series, and it has some amazing armor. If that doesn't make a great Elder Dragon, then I don't know what does. This Elder Dragon is definitely one of the hardest ones on this list, and truly shows how good someone is at Monster Hunter. It is usually on everyone's favorite Monster Hunter monsters list because of how amazing its fight and appearance is. The Elder Dragon that I'm talking about is the one and the only Alatreon. This fight is everything I thought it would be and more. The Alatreon is considered to be one of the hardest monsters in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, along with the Dire Morales. Now you might be wondering, what makes the Alatreon so much harder from the other monsters in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate? Well, the easy answer to that question is, it has the ability to use every single type of element, besides water of course. So the fight with it can be pretty hectic because of how many different elements it can use. Plus, it's really fast and can use some deadly elemental combos. It can go from using a dragon attack to using a thunder attack to using an ice attack. If you don't have null berries for this fight, then you are screwed because you'll have more status effects inflicted on you than the amount of times that a Conchu has pissed someone off. Now, I've never been able to beat Alatreon in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate because I'm not far enough in the game and I don't have good enough equipment. However, in Monster Hunter Generations, I have been able to beat it and even made and maxed out its hammer. It has some really good dragon weapons. It also has some really good armor, if you have the patience to get all the parts that you need for it. Anyway, back to the fight. So Alatreon has several different moves. One move that it can do is that it will charge you, and if you get hit by this, then you'll get inflicted with Dragon Blight. It can also make it rain icicles from the sky, and if you get hit by one of them, then you'll get hit with Ice Blight. Another move that it has is that it can shoot lightning bolts towards a player. If you get hit by a lightning bolt, then you'll get inflicted by Thunder Blight, obviously. It also can shoot fire tornadoes, which will inflict you with Fire Blight. As you can see, there's a pattern with this. It has a bunch of different elements, and there's a bunch of different blights you have to worry about. It has several more moves, but I don't want to be too repetitive by talking about all the different types of blights you can get from this fight. Now, I love this fight to death, but I'm not a huge fan of its appearance. You would think that an Elder Dragon that has the ability to use almost every single element would be huge and powerful looking. Well, the Alatreon doesn't look as intimidating as some of the other Elder Dragons. Now, this isn't a huge issue that ruins the fight or anything, it's just a small nitpick that I have with it. And another thing that I'm not a big fan of, and I know this is going to make me sound like a weenie, but I don't like how high up its head is. Now, I know this is a personal issue, but it is still something that can be very annoying, for me anyway, especially since I use Hammer. You have to wail on its legs a lot, especially in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Now, its head is really easy to hit once you actually manage to get it on the ground. Now, it's not impossible to hit its head while it's not on the ground. It can just be a pain in the ass to get it to lower its head so that you're able to hit it. This is just a minor issue that's not really that bad. It's just another nitpick I have with the Alatreon. It's pretty hard for me to find issues with the Alatreon because it's a really good fight that is hard and fun. So now we're at my 3 favorite Elder Dragons. Now these are the ones that I could fight over and over and over for hours on end. It was really hard for me to rank the number 3 in 2 spots because I love them both the same. Now this Elder Dragon is one that I had not ever heard of prior to fighting it. I was just playing through Monster Hunter Generations and trying to get my HR up, and as I was ranking up, I got to HR 70. Once I got to HR 70, I saw I had a new quest. I went to check what the quest was, and saw that I could now fight the magnificent Amatsu. This is by far the most elegant Elder Dragon on this list. I think that Amatsu has one of the best designs out of every monster that I've fought so far in Monster Hunter. In the fight, it will float in the sky and use various water and wind attacks on you, such as a water beam, summoning mini tornadoes, and its main attack, my favorite, spinning in a circle and creating a huge tornado that can do heavy amount of damage. Also, one detail that I think is really cool is that when you kill Amatsu, the sky becomes clear and sunny. It's small details like this that really make boss fights in this game so amazing. Once you kill Amatsu, you can make some pretty good water weapons. The only thing that sucks about Amatsu's weapons, or at least the hammer anyway, is that it has some pretty bad sharpness. Of course, this can be fixed with an armor set that has handicraft and or razor sharp. I also think that the area where you fight Amatsu is beautiful. It is definitely one of my favorite areas in the series. Two things that is annoying about the Amatsu is that it always is in the sky. Now, this isn't too bad if you have aerial, but it's a pain to try to hit it. I mean, the only thing you can really hit on Amatsu is its legs and tail if you don't have aerial, or aren't using an insect glaive. And because it's flying in the sky, it's extremely hard to break its horns, even when you use aerial. The only way you can even hit it is to get Amatsu on the ground, or to use the ballistic guns that are in the area. This is nothing that takes away from how amazing the fight with Amatsu is. It will always be one of my favorite Elder Dragons in Monster Hunter, and definitely my favorite Elder Dragon in Monster Hunter Generations. This fight is just unreal with how much fun it is. Remember how I said Doran Moran is one of the biggest monsters in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate? Well, this monster is almost 4 times as big as Doran Moran. And this monster is not even the biggest monster in the series. I was shocked that this Elder Dragon was even able to be in the game. I didn't think that a 3DS had the power to process an Elder Dragon that is this big. Okay, I'm gonna try to stop talking about how big this Elder Dragon is. I just want you guys to know, it's f***ing massive. Well, at this point, I bet a lot of you guys know what Elder Dragon I'm talking about. If you don't know what Elder Dragon I'm talking about, then let me introduce it to you. The Elder Dragon I'm talking about is Dalamadur. Stop. That's the wrong one. Yeah, Dalamadur is cool and all, but it's nothing compared to its variant, Shah Dalamadur. I bet a lot of you guys are shocked that I'm putting Shah Dalamadur at number 2. Yes, I know Dalamadur is a great Elder Dragon, but I just love the number 1 spot way too much to put Shah Dalamadur ahead of it. Anyway, let's start talking about Shah Dalamadur. So if the cutscene didn't get you hyped enough to fight this Elder Dragon, then maybe its fight will make you want to go and fight it. In this fight, Shah Dalamadur has several different attacks that have really far range. One of its attacks is that it can summon a bunch of huge meteors to rain down on the stage and try to hit you. The meteors can actually be pretty hard to dodge just because of how many meteors are raining down. And usually after it does the meteor attack, it'll either try to bite the player at random, which is terrifying if you're the player it decides to choose, or it will do its signature move. This is one of the coolest signature moves ever, and someone almost always dies to it. Its signature is that it'll shoot a huge beam across the stage that is pretty much unavoidable unless you do a Superman dive. If you see this beam coming towards you, you better pray that you live through the attack. Because if this is your first time fighting Shah Dalamadur, then you're pretty much dead, because it is extremely hard to dodge if you don't know what to do. Now those are the main attacks you should know while fighting Shah Dalamadur. Now I want to talk about attacking it. Like Nakarkos and Doran Moran, you can climb up Shah Dalamadur. When it is wrapped around the mountain on the stage, you can run on its back and try to hit the weak points. Yes, you heard me correctly, I said a mountain. This stage has a mountain on it because of how big Shah Dalamadur is. You can also attack its massive tail, claws, and chest. Wow, I just love this fight so much. I love the scale of how huge this fight is. I also love how difficult the fight is. It really makes you have to put your skills to the test. You really have to know how to use your weapon to be able to do damage to it, and to be able to dodge its massive attacks. Oh, and Shah Dalamadur has some great weapons, but its armor's not that good. I haven't made its hammer yet because I haven't been able to farm it. I mean, I wouldn't mind farming Shah Dalamadur because it's such a fun fight. The only thing that can make this fight miserable is if you have someone on your team who doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, that can apply to every Elder Dragon on this list, but it's especially bad with this one because of how long the fight can be. I really think that this is one of the most memorable fights in all of Monster Hunter, in my opinion, because of its size and because of how huge and fun the fight is. Now, what Elder Dragon could possibly be better than this one? Before I talk about my number 1 spot, I would just like to talk about my honorable mentions. Since there are not that many Elder Dragons, I can't make a sequel to this video like I can with my other top 10s. Wink wink. Anyway, I would like to give a shout out to Teostra and Kusladora. Teostra has a really cool design and a pretty good challenge because of its powerful blast attacks, while Kusladora has an amazing design and a pretty fun fight, as well as some great weapons. I was going to make the number 7 choice a 3-way tie, but I decided to not do this because the video would be way too long if I added 2 extra Elder Dragons to it. I also would like to give a shout out to Dire Morales. My reason for not putting him on my list is because I still haven't gotten the chance to fight it yet, and I really want to. I still need to play through G rank in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I can already tell based on what I've seen from its fight that it is a super fun one, and it uses the underwater mechanic. I'll probably make a video about Dire Morales as soon as I get the chance to fight it. And I would also like to give one dishonorable mention. As I said before, there's not many Elder Dragons in Monster Hunter, so I can't make a top 10 least favorite Elder Dragons list. Also, I don't think that there are 10 Elder Dragons that I don't like. The Elder Dragon that I hate is Kirin. This is one of the most annoying pain in the asses in the series. Now, I was going to add this to my top 10 least favorite Monster Hunter monsters, but I decided not to because I didn't want to have an Elder Dragon take the spot in that video. I would talk about why I hate Kirin in this video, but I don't have enough time to do so. I might make a video about Kirin in the future if enough of you guys want me to. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I can talk about my number 1 spot. This Elder Dragon has been one that I've loved ever since I first got to fight it. That Elder Dragon is, of course, the one and the only Fatalis. I wanted to put all 3 of them at my number 1 spot, but I don't have enough time to talk about all of them, so I had to only choose one of them. Now, this was a very hard decision to make, because I didn't know which one to choose. I mean, they're all so great. But after thinking about it long and hard, I had to go with my boy, White Fatalis. Just wow, this fight is everything that I asked for in a boss fight. Now where do I even start? I guess I could start by talking about its attacks. So the Black Fatalis uses Dragon and Fire elements, and the Crimson Fatalis uses Dragon, Fire, and Blast. But the White Fatalis decides to change it up and use Dragon and Thunder. It will use several different types of Dragon and Thunder attacks that will do a ton of damage. My favorite attack that it has is for sure its signature attack. Now this is my favorite attack in all of Monster Hunter. It's huge, it's intimidating, it's badass, it's everything I ask for in an amazing attack. It will fly up in the sky and make it rain huge, red thunderbolts down on you. And these thunderbolts are not easy to dodge. You'll either need to have a Mega Dash Juice or have the Mushroom Mancer ability and use Mope Shrooms so that you don't run out of stamina. Now it is possible to dodge this attack without either one of those things, but it's a lot harder. Oh, and if you get hit and live, then you better get up fast and keep running or else you'll get hit again and most likely die. The White Fatalis is f***ing brutal. Another attack that it has that you should be aware of is when it moves forward or moves its tail, you will take a good amount of damage from it. Now I have fought the White Fatalis so many times that I'm used to its attack pattern. But if you're not used to it, you better get used to it and fast, or else you'll have a very hard time taking it down. If it's not clear enough at this point, I love this fight a lot. It's just so great. It's extremely fun and it's pretty hard. And let's not forget about its appearance. At first, I thought the White Fatalis' appearance looked weird, but the more I fought it, the more I fell in love with it. I mean, it's just so much more different from the Fatalis and the Crimson Fatalis. Don't get me wrong, I love the out of the Black and Crimson Fatalis' appearance. I mean, I like their appearances more than I like White Fatalis'. While we're still talking about its appearance, I want to talk about its cutscene. I normally don't gush in my videos, but I have to make an exception for White Fatalis because it's so amazing. Okay. The White Fatalis comes out of a f***ing black hole out of the f***ing moon. If that's not a start to a cool fight, then I don't know what the f*** a good fight is. I mean, it has a great appearance, it has a f***ing amazing cutscene, it has amazing weapons and armor, and it looks so cool. I can't say that enough. Also, it has some amazing weapons and armor. Its hammer has bad sharpness, but it has great power and element. I made its hammer and love using it because it reminds me of the White Fatalis, and it's an extremely good weapon in my opinion. Oh, also, I forgot to mention how awesome it is to mount. When you mount it, you get to ride on its head. That is so cool. I think that I actually love everything about this fight. I mean, the only thing I can think of is its head is pretty high up. But that's not a big deal at all because you have the Dragonator, one-shot binders, ballista guns, and cannons. The White Fatalis is and will always be my favorite monster and Elder Dragon in all of Monster Hunter.
Wow, this turned out to be a really long video. I wrote 10 pages about Monster Hunter Elder Dragons. 10 pages! I still can't believe I was able to do that, but I did. Anyway, I just want to say before we end the video, thank you guys so much for supporting my Monster Hunter content. It means a lot to me that you guys actually enjoy my videos because Monster Hunter is my favorite video game series of all time. And you guys liking my content means a lot because it gives me an excuse to play more of Monster Hunter, and I get to make stuff that makes you guys happy. Also, stick around for the outro card because I have a very special announcement for Monster Hunter content. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. My name's Ryan Kelly, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. It's time for the special announcement.
That's tasty.
I had some of you guys ask, could you live stream Monster Hunter, or could you play Monster Hunter with me? And my answer to this question is, yes, I will play Monster Hunter with you guys. Now, I'm going to be doing a live stream where I play with my viewers and people who enjoy my Monster Hunter content. The date's going to be down here, and the link to the Twitch is going to be in the description. So make sure you go join that. Make sure to do so because we're going to be playing 4 Ultimate, maybe 3 Ultimate, and Generations. We're just going to be doing as many Monster Hunter games as we can. Also, we're going to be doing a Monster Hunter series. It's a Let's Play sort of style video where I go and play 4 Ultimate, Generations, and 3 Ultimate, and I try making armor sets or weapons, or I just like fight a monster that I've never fought before, or I just hang out with my friends and just play some Monster Hunter. It's a lot of fun. We filmed an episode where I go against a Silver Rathalos. You can check that out if you want. The video's not going to be coming out for a little bit, but once it does, I'll put a link on the screen right here that you can click. But I am warning you, it's going to be a little vulgar, so if you don't like strong language, I don't recommend watching it. But if you want to see more of my Monster Hunter content that isn't like these top 10 style videos, then that's what you can watch. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this special announcement. Hope you guys are excited. You'll probably see the date for when I'm going to do the live stream on screen. If not, I'll make like a little separate video about it, talking about what day I'm going to be live streaming, where you can come find it, and all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, thanks again for watching the video. My name is Ryan Kelly, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!